Do you want to get good fast? Do you want to accelerate your timelines? Get in a training room with people who are running fast, working hard, some at your level, some slightly behind, some ahead of you, with an amazing coach. That's a formula for success in jiu-jitsu. That's a formula of success in business, any skill that you want to develop. So I just spent the last 3 days at Warrior Trainer Council in Dana Point, California, learning how to become a better coach, learning how to run my coaching business, learning how to actually see people in a deeper way, learning how to build the systems, the tools, everything that I need to scale the business, and also work more powerfully with my existing clients. And this was how would you say, like this was a very pivotal training session for me. And the reason why is because on Monday, I went full-time as a trainer. I am now the CEO of Yellow Brick Method. I coach CEOs of growth stage companies that have some connection with between tech and finance. It could be real estate tech, language services tech, but there's some component of that business that has debt financing, equity financing, venture capital, growth capital behind it. And I'm working with the CEO and their leadership teams to take that company to the next level. What do I do exactly? Well, some of the things I work on is actually getting all of them to operate in power and peak performance by focusing on getting crystal clear on where they are, where they want to go, the gap between them. You would be shocked at how many people don't know exactly where they are and the issues and problems that they have in their business, or won't face the realities of what's going on in that. So there's a framework for that. We go through that. What's working? What's not working? Let's go deep into that. More often than not, people already know or have a sense of things that they need to work on, need to improve, need to adjust, but they may not have the right solution in hand. A good coach can come in, help reflect, and then provide insight and guidance. In particular, if they have done it before, have expertise in whatever that thing is. So I'm not a generic coach. I don't coach anybody. I don't coach just on generic things. I have industry background and experience with venture-backed businesses that are scaling rapidly, dealing with the challenges of scale, the chaos of adding team members, while also trying to manage the capital structure in and around the business to pull that off. I did this at Payoff. I did this at Happy Money. I helped do this at PatientFi. And there's a number of other companies that have helped over the years solve for that. And I've also been the managing partner of a venture capital firm for the past 2.5 years, where I'm actually providing capital directly to businesses to help them grow. So I'm not speaking from theory. I'm not speaking hypotheticals here. This is what I've lived over the past 10 years as head of capital, CFO, chief operating officer, CEO, and managing partner. So when I coach CEOs of businesses, I have lived through and experienced many of the challenges and pain points that they're going to experience, and I can speak from a depth of understanding of what they go through. On top of that, I focus on coaching men. Why? Because I am a man, and because that actually gives me the ability to speak directly to the issues that a lot of men face when they're leading a company. And most of the people that I coach are also married with kids, and they're in the thick of it as they're building a business, and they want to have their health. They want to have a spiritual life. They want to have a relationship with a marriage that's on fire. So there's a lot of stuff happening in their world. And guess what? It's a lot of balls to keep in the air. And more often than not, a few are going to fall and hit the ground. And you don't want it to be catastrophic. But you can build an operating system into your life that changes that and ensures that you're actually making investments in all those areas of life and puts you in the best possible position to have it all across all those areas of life while you're building the business. You don't have to wait till you exit at some point, hopefully down the road, and have oodles of cash to be able to pull it off. You live that way along the path, and more powerfully when you have the capital to do it at the next level. So why do I do this? Great question. I do this because when I'm coaching, it makes me feel more alive than anything else that I do. Because I feel like this is what I've been called to do, and I've been running from it. When I was a teenager, it was the motivational speakers, Jim Rohn, Zig Ziglar, Dennis Waitley. My dad and I would be working out in the garage when I was 12. I was listening to the greats. I was inspired by them. I learned about goals and discipline and character, communication skill. So that all inspired me. And there was a point actually when I was a late teenager, like, oh, I want to go be that. And I wrote it down even on this list of 10 different things I would do if I had 10 different lives to live. But then I realized, like, what depth of experience or life do I really have the ability to share with people? I'd be speaking mostly from repeating information other people had said or hypotheticals. And so I lived this career where I became an intelligence officer in the Navy. I go to Harvard Business School. I come out and to do private equity. I'm living in Hawaii and California. I join a fintech, help scale that to over $1 billion valuation, and then become the managing partner of a venture firm. And now I feel, oh, I actually have something to share. And it's not hypothetical anymore. I've actually lived it. I've been married for almost 20 years. I have 2 boys that are aged 12 and 10. I have fitness in my life. I had 3 karate black belts growing up. And now I train Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I have a blue belt, 2 stripes. I know how to work out. All these things, like, I've lived it. So when I work with somebody, it's not hypothetical. You're looking for a great CFO as a CEO. I know what a CFO ought to look like. I know what a CEO ought to look like and how they're operating and what it looks like, what success looks like, what happiness looks like, what fulfillment looks like. But I also know what it looks like when you're overwhelmed, consumed by the business that you're building, and afraid that you're going to lose your soul because you either are going to crush it and have a major exit, or there's a possibility it collapses and you fear that your reputation is going to go down with it. And you're so intertwined with that business. There was one point where the CEO that I was working with, I was the CFO at the time, was in New York raising capital, and it was looking very bleak. I was in California at the time. I flew to New York for some of my own capital meetings, but also to meet up with him and be able to sit down across from him and let him know, like, hey, if this business does not survive, you will. Because his identity was so intertwined with that company, it was almost like as if he was the company, and the success of that company determined what would happen for him. And I wanted to be there alongside him and just be like, hey, you're going to make it no matter what. We pulled off a miracle round of financing. The company continued, and what became one of the darkest nights, there was a light on the other side of it, and the company grew from there, and we pulled it off. But sometimes you just need somebody in your corner that believes in you, that can see the potential in you, that can speak life into you. And that's what I do as a CEO coach. And I love speaking life into people and be like, hey, we can do this. Hey, here's a strategy. What did I learn in the last 3 days being here? As I'm building out this business, I am a CEO building a business, and I am running into same challenges. What to spend time on? What can I avoid? And I have a great example in Garrett White, who's built multiple 8-figure businesses, and one of them is in the coaching space. It's like, how do you do it tactically? And he's like, give me insights. Do this, not that. Great. I'm going to cross all these things off my list. I don't need to do them. I don't need to worry about them. I don't have to fret about it. Done. Do this and this. Awesome. So now I can get super focused because you can see my progress, see where I am, see the moves that I'm making and need to make, and then make the tweaks and adjustments for me. And then, well, not make them for me, can see the insights that I can make the adjustments that I need to make, and you can very quickly make those key adjustments. And so now over the next 30 days, I've got a clear game plan of what I need to do and execute on in order to hit the next milestone and continue this progress. Well, isn't that what a great coach does? Here's where to focus. Oh, what about this? Distraction, not important. Focus over here. Get good at this. Spend your time here. That can save you so much time, so much angst, so much worry of like, oh, do I need to be good at that? What about this? What about this person? What about this? Those aren't the constraint, not a problem. This is where we need to focus. Whew, boom. Laser in on that. Perfect. Now you've got a game plan. So I encourage you to consider, as we're heading into the weekend here, think about where in your life do you need a coach. Is it in your fitness? Is it in your business? Whatever it is. But for me, if you're a CEO of a growth stage company, consider giving me a call, especially if you have debt, equity, or some other component of your business. That's what I specialize in. My goal is to be the best in the world at doing that. I don't even know who else is actually in my space, but my goal is to be at the best of the world. And the chances are for your particular business, particularly if it's debt and equity pieces to it, I could already be the best CEO coach in the world for that space, just by default, because I'm not sure who else is operating in here. But if you know of any, also let me know, because it'd be great to meet them, because the demand is pretty overwhelming. I have basically a completely full slot right now, like a slate, But I'm going to be adding a wait list. We're going to be creating applications because what I do is in such demand, and it's going to be continuing to grow forward. So I may be able to take another one in the next 6 weeks or so for the onboarding. But I will then have to start prioritizing even more closely, because what the work I do is intensive, it's important, and it makes key pivots, but I also need to know enough about the business to make good insight and direction in what I do. So that's it. It's been an amazing 3 days. Oh, and by the way, some people ask me, like, what are you doing with all this CEO coaching you're going through? Yeah, so I fly out here to Dana Point from Nashville, Tennessee, 3 to 4 days out of the month to invest in myself. Spend thousands of dollars every time I come out. Why? Because I know the importance and the acceleration that's possible from coaching. And so I can speak from that which I practice. It's to help accelerate me, and I know it can help accelerate you if you're the right fit. So let me know if you are, and we'll have a conversation and take it from there. Have a good one.